One thing that's great about Star Trek Renegades, I don't know if you knew this, but there is a large number of Star Trek alumni that are appearing in the series. It's
That's smooth.
It's great because, like, you know, there's like big names from the Star Trek pantheon of characters. Do you find that intimidating, stepping into sort of their sandbox with all these people who are immediately recognizable by their name and their character all around the world?
Yes and no. Maybe I should be more intimidated, but I kind of think of it as this great touchstone that they will, you know, sort of help guide the ship, no pun intended, no pun intended, but, you know, guide us on the right path and keep just some real integrity to the project. I love that the project is coming from a new place, and it's not what you've seen before, and yet having that mix of familiarity, I think, is a huge bonus. I think it's great.
Having read the script and having talked to some of the folks who are the creative forces behind it, give me a very high-level pitch for the show. Imagine you're trying to explain to me what the show Star Trek Renegades is about.
The interesting thing to me about this project is that there is a very blurred line between good guys and bad guys, and it's sort of the perspective that you are coming from. So I'm a huge fan of anti-heroes, and I think you have a healthy dose of that within Renegades. And I just think what's great about it is you sort of don't know where you stand. There's a lot of mystery within the script and mystery within how things are going to unfold, and even once they've unfolded, what the consequences are. So everything is kind of up in the air, but it makes for this really juicy story where you aren't quite sure what's happening. It's like this really messy time within Star Trek, and so we're trying to figure out just where things are going, who's in charge, whether they should be or not, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, kind of thing. So I'm just sort of along for the ride with all of that mix, but to me, that makes it the most fascinating because you don't know what to expect.
What's very interesting about the Star Trek Renegades project is, first of all, it's a crowd-funded project. They had a very successful Kickstarter campaign and made a ton of money. And even since my last discussion with Tim, that whole side of the industry has sort of been reinvented with the Veronica Mars Kickstarter.
Right.
And I would like to hear your perspective on that, having spent time in sort of a more traditional studio model in the work you've done, and now coming forward into a crowd-funded model. Like, how do you feel this is does this affect you? Does it affect the industry?
Well, certainly the industry is affected, but I think, you know, for an industry that's been around for nearly 100 years, it's interesting that right now it kind of feels like the Wild West all over again. No one really knows what's going to happen. You know, it's a tough nut to crack. Everybody's trying to figure out how you, because, you know, I mean, raising the money is only half the battle. It's trying to raise the money and be profitable afterwards. So it's this equation that everybody's trying to figure out of how do you have enough funds to make the projects that you want and to promote the projects that you are trying to promote, and also find a way to make them lucrative. It's, you know, it's a mystery for everybody right now. I mean, it's every single network, if not every single production company, is trying to figure out this new media market and, you know, and how to be successful within it. And it's a complete mystery. And, you know, things like this Veronica Mars project, I mean, that's amazing. And it's this juggernaut that comes in and shakes everybody up and thinks, yeah, we can figure it out. But even that process is still going to be complicated. I mean, it's still something they're trying to juggle and figure out how to bring to fruition, and that's everybody. I mean, the interesting thing about it is that if you're going directly to your market, to your what you hope and think are your fans, and you try to ask them to be actively involved from the beginning, the great part about it is that you are getting instantaneous feedback. So if they're not interested, it doesn't matter how many bells and whistles your Kickstarter has, it's just not going to happen. But equally, you have all of these projects that have come along where they've said, you know, just as an example, I need $10,000 and I'm going to ask for, you know, I'm hoping that we can do this within the next 45 days. And 36 hours later, they have $80,000. I mean, you know, it's that sort of thing where it's definitely a great thermometer for your fan base and what it is that they're interested in. But it's still only half the battle. I feel like 5 years from now, the industry will look completely different. And for that matter, I mean, I think because it's a gradual change, we don't see it as much, but without a doubt, it's completely different than it was 5 years ago. So
Sure.
we're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure out from every perspective, from a creator's perspective and trying to create content, but also, you know, from an actor's perspective, trying to figure out how do you make a living in this new market and do projects that are close to your heart and creatively fulfilling, but are not just, you know, me donating my time, you know, like you have to figure it out and find the business model that's going to work. And sadly, I wish I knew exactly what that was.
Don't we all?